Very warm good evening to all of you. I just want a thumbs up from someone to let me know, am I audible? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Namaskar. It's wonderful to see so many people joining us today for this discussion. We said we'll start at 5. I'm aware there are many people who are joining in, but we respect time and we respect the time that you're giving us today. So we're going to start. A little bit about myself. My name is Mamta Kapoor, and I am the Director Education for the Khaitan Education Center, looking after the education for the schools that we run and manage, and also the principal for our new school, the Khaitan World School. Today with me, I have an amazing group of panelists. Each comes with a unique set of experience in their own domain. But I think what brings us together is our collective passion for providing authentic learning to children under our care. So without taking much time, I'm going to invite our chairman, founder, promoter, Mr. Anirudh Khaitan. However, I think it's unfair if I do not say a little bit about him, how I met him, and how I got so excited by his infectious passion that he has for what he does. So I still remember meeting Mr. Khaitan 6-7 years ago, and he invited me to his school, and he wanted just to share what's happening. And he's very, very humble person, which I realized much later when I actually saw his school. Having worked in India and abroad, I was really surprised to see a school in a very residential colony in Saibabad offering world-class learning. And his intent and his enthusiasm for doing the best that you can do for children is genuinely infectious. Oh, and I think since then, our partnership started. And I'm excited to be a part of his team. And Mr. Khaitan, my first question to you, how we would start is, I would like you to share, I know I've heard this story many a times, but I can hear it again and again and again, is where did your journey begin?
First of all, thank you so much, Mamta. And we've got over 100 participants today. Amazing. It's a great number to have. Thank you for such a kind introduction. I still remember a cup of coffee, and I still remember how I insisted you must come and work with us, and thank you. And it's been 7 years. I'll give you a little background how it all started, right? So I was fortunate enough that I was studying abroad. My family had schools, but they were primarily in Noida and Delhi, in Calcutta, sorry. And in 2001, I came back, and actually that was the first time I visited Khaitan Public School, 2002, Ghaziabad. It had just been set up and this thing. And when I went there, I was aghast. I had just come from the US, great infrastructure, what an environment, and there was such positivity and energy, etc. And so that was my first instance. Then for the next 4-5 years, I was doing my own thing. I was, selling insurance, and, I was on the road pretty much. And in 2007, I again joined back this institution, where I wanted, something drew me towards education. Again, when I went in 2007, nothing had changed. It was the same thing, and I was distressed, and why I was distressed, because, anytime we take on anything, you kind of reflect on your own experience. So I reflected on my school days. And Mamta, what I could remember is doing 300 questions in a day of math, and I still have nightmares about that. So I'll wake up one day, just 2 weeks ago, I woke up, thinking, oh, I have this math exam and I have not prepared for it. And I woke up and I said, thank God, I don't have to give an exam. So imagine the kind of post-traumatic stress I went through, right? So school in my, time, which was 90s, was exam. You have to score, you have to study. Of course, there was, lot of other things, like, there were a few things, because I was modern, there was activities and a little bit of music, etc. But it was mostly rote method of learning. And when I reflected back, there was no joy. I was not happy. So, again, cutting the story short, 2007, I was there, I was looking at this institution. I decided to go on a world tour first. I said, no, if we want to do something good, we have to see what others are doing and learn from them. So I went to NIST, which is in Bangkok. I went to High-Tech High, which is in the US. I went to UWC, United World College in Singapore. And across campuses, of course, they were different. There were different methods, etc. But one thing was certain. Every child was so joyful. They were so happy. They loved coming to school. And the infrastructure was great. I was like, wow, why can't we create this in India? And why are we so behind? Right? So with that thought, this took me about a couple of years to go through this journey. I used to sit in the principal's rooms from 2008 to 2010, really be in the classes and just watch what's going on. And gave me, I said, nothing has changed in schooling in the last 30 years since I was in school. How is that even possible? So I came back about 2010, 11. I started speaking to a lot of people. Mrs. Awa Adams was one of them. I went to her. I offered her to even come and join. Of course, she declined at that point of time. But I spoke to a lot of principals. I spoke to a lot of parents. I said, hey, guys, we need to re-innovate. We have to reinvigorate, rethink our schooling system. None of them were ready. They said, sir, everyone's happy. Parents want grades. They're getting grades. And lo and behold, but I said, hey, everyone's getting grades. You pick up the newspaper, somebody's getting 96, somebody's getting 95, somebody's getting 95.3, and there's no joy. It's become a commodity. This is not the right way to learn, So, well, and me being me, the more I got pushed back, the more I said, no, we are going to do something different. So I looked, I thought very, very deeply. And I don't know if you remember this, Mamta. I said, Mamta, I just want one thing from our schools. I want a happy school.
True. I remember.
I said, everyone who comes to my school or our schools, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a parent, whether it's a student, they need to feel joy. They need to feel purpose, because I truly believe if you're happy, you will learn. We are human beings. We don't need to be told to learn. We are not learned how we walk. We don't learn to walk. Nobody teaches us. We learn on ourselves. We are designed to be a learning machine. But the education, the way we look at it in India, comes in the middle of learning. So with that thought, we went and did many mad things. We experimented, so we started building our own English curriculum. And by English curriculum, I don't mean children just talking in English, because that's robotic. Literacy to me means thinking properly, active listening. There are many aspects to literacy, right? It's in India, English, you should just know how to speak English, but that was not literacy for me. We put so much stress on exams. We took a lot of exams out for the young kids. We said, hey, give them space. They need to go be creative. They need to explore the right brain. We defined why children should come to school. It's not only about learning ABCD. I've never met anyone in my life who does not know ABCD. It's about going to school, forming relationships. At the end of the day, we realize that these children have to deal with other people. Do they even know? What are they going to do with knowledge if they don't know how to deal with people? So I said, okay, let's make a joy school. Let's make a right school. Let's make a creative school. And it was tough because we got a lot of pushback from parents. Every day I used to get emails and for an example, for a balanced literacy curriculum, right? Which is parents were like, hey, you don't have books. Our kids are not going to learn anything. Hey, they're not doing writing right now. Of course, we did change a bit and incorporate a few suggestions, but we kept to our research. Mamta, you were a big part of that journey. And, the most amazing thing happened. In the next 3-4 years, we saw actually there was a little bit of joy. There was a lot of fun, but something that we were not of course, we were looking at, but not fully concerned about the grades of the school improving.
Is it Mr. Khaitan's screen that has frozen, or?
I'm back. I think I'm back.
That's all right. That's okay. That's technology. It's
Yeah.
okay.
So in the last 5 years, we have been one of the top performing schools in Ghaziabad. And I can see our kids, because I used to go to classes before, now when I go to classes, kids are learning better, they are speaking better, they are thinking better, they're not scared, they're asking the right questions. When I talk to parents, they say, hey, my kids are writing, novels, storybooks, etc. The grades is not because we are stressing them to do well. They themselves have become more active learners, right? Because we've given them space, because they become more responsible, because it's an attitude shift, right? आप घोड़ा को जितना मारोगे कम भागेगा. It's not about that anymore, right? The world has changed. So yeah, that's a little bit of my story, Amita. And with that, Khaitan World School came up, and you know the rest.
I know the rest. I know the rest, and I remember these very iconic moments, I call them, when you call me and when you give me these news. So here is a school that was running very well, a very established school. Of course, you turned the school around, Khaitan Public School. But it's your vision, it's your ideas, it's your passion that we see in Khaitan Public School as it is now. And then you suddenly decided to open another school. So I say you inherited one school, but the second school is your actual baby whom you really, really conceived, conceptualized. And, you said, right, I'm going to open another school. And I still remember I asked you, I said, why? Why do you want to open another school? And you shared something with me, which I think I would want you to share with everybody else as well. I'm going to start sharing the screen as well at the same time, because you may want to talk about your vision through this. So my question to you is, Mr. Khaitan, between the first school, which is now 20 years old, to the second school, which is now a baby school, 2.5 years old, what has changed?
Oh, I mean, we are
In
meeting
terms of
on
your vision as an educator and a founder, and what's different between the two schools?
I'll tell you, and I'll give an example which everybody can relate to here. We are meeting on a screen.
Yes.
I think I'm a very big technology buff, which is good and bad. So I think the way the world has changed is that this is the fourth industrial revolution, right? You had electricity, which changed the world. Then you had the wheel that changed the world. Technology is your fourth. Then you had agriculture advancements which changed the world. This is the fourth industrial revolution. So I'm going to share a few things, right? For example, according to the World Economic Forum, 65% of children entering school today will eventually work in jobs that don't even exist. 2 years ago, prompt engineering didn't exist. What is prompt engineering? ChatGPT, right? They have prompt engineers now, which is one of the highest paid jobs in the US now, right? What does the future look like? Can you just go back to the last slide?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sorry. The report further highlights that by 2025, 85 million jobs may be displaced due to automation. We know in India how many IIT guys are still unemployed.
Yeah.
All right. And these are guys who worked tremendously and they still don't have an offer. They are the top, right? This means that 50% of all employees will need reskilling. All right, let's go ahead.
Okay.
What does the future look like? The OECD, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, reports that half of today's workers will need reskilling. Next, please. McKinsey estimates by 2030, AI could add up to 13 trillion to global economy, but it will also disrupt industries. This will require workers to integrate AI and automation into their jobs while excelling in areas where human skills, such as empathy and creativity, are irreplaceable. So please understand the two words here, empathy and creativity, and we're going to talk more about it. All right. Deloitte states that technological advancements are evolving at such a rapid pace that businesses and workers will face significant pressure to innovate. So, four words that are coming out here: empathy, creativity, innovate, and reskilling. All right. So these are key things that now we look for in our own work. In a colleague, I don't ask my colleague what's two problems. I want him to think of solutions to problems, because, hey, business is basically a bunch of problems. It's not business. Work is a bunch of problems. You need to find solutions, work with people. So yeah, you know where I'm going at, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
A forecast. Compared to the industrial revolution, AI is contributing to transformation of society 10 times faster at 300 times the scale with 3,000 times impact. Let's just sit back and think of our own lives. We used to use a map in 2000 to go to places, right? Are we stuck again? Am I stuck again?
No, no, no. We can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to use a map. Remember those maps we used to buy at the petrol pumps?
Yeah.
Right? Now you have Google Maps. You don't need it. I don't need to write an email. I can just reply from ChatGPT. There are systems, right? I don't even need to write essays. Yesterday, I read a lot of balance sheets. I put that online on ChatGPT. It gave me a complete analysis of the balance sheet in 5 minutes. I don't even need to read anymore, right? So imagine what it's doing. Hey, as I said, we are meeting on Zoom. Did you ever think that was possible? Right? How work from home. Imagine telling 15 years ago, I'm going to work from home. People would laugh at you, right? So imagine how this is changing. And now I don't know if we see it, but this has become accepted reality.
Yeah.
But imagine the pace of change, right? All right, let's go next. Andrew McPhee says more technology and fewer jobs. I will disagree here. Technology will replace people who don't use technology for their work. Imagine if you had someone come to you and says, no, sir, I won't use a calculator. I'll do math on pen and paper. You'd say, boss, please, I would not like you to join me. Or who would not use Excel. These are accepted norms because this technology has been forever. What we have to realize, you may think that AI and, oh, kids should write essays, which they will, which we will teach them. But at the end of the day, if there is a easier option which can happen in a second of research, etc., the world will move towards that. Right now, let's see. If you could go to the next point. How has AI changed the world? Let's see. Basic research skills, proofreading and grammar checking. Presentation. I can literally make a PowerPoint presentation in 3 minutes. I just have to give them the framework. The presentation will come. I've used it. Not for this one, but we used it many times before. Not for this
Thank
one.
you for the clarification.
Basic data analysis, memorization of facts, basic writing assistance, repetitive coding tasks. We don't even need coders. Now I have friends who have technology companies who say, Anirudh, when I needed to have 5 coders before, now I just need 1 because ChatGPT, and there are many others. ChatGPT is just one, right? There are thousands of AI tools now which can write software. Imagine it's just replaced that entire industry. You've heard of AI using arguing in court. They look at all the data and they can argue in court, right? Virtual AIs, language translation. Next. Yeah. These are just things that AI has currently replaced. And there are a list, 1,000, 10,000 other things. So the question is, what does it leave us with? What do we really teach our children? Does it really make sense? Say you write an essay, because they'll go and say ChatGPT will write it, right? Or please learn how to make a PPT. is that their role anymore? So it leaves us in a flux. And I can tell you one thing, Mamta, that 99% of schools in our country are not even thinking what it's, they're still in that whole rote method, etc., right? So the question is here is actually, how do we ensure when children leave our school or our schools, they have the necessary skills, right? We have many people who have scored the highest, which our children do too, but hey, is that really what we are looking for anymore? I'm going to leave it up to you, MK, to answer that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for setting such a wonderful context, for this discussion that we're going to have today. I don't think so, I could have asked for a better introduction. Okay. I think your question actually is a very appropriate question, something that all adults, myself as an educator, myself as a parent, we need to ask ourselves, right? But I'm going to slice these questions into two parts, right? The first one being the what we teach. Is it relevant? Does it ensure the holistic well-being of all our learners? And then the second one that ties up with it, which is how we teach it. How do we teach so that we make sure that children don't just master these concepts, they don't just rote memorize, but they have all the necessary, what we call 21st century skills. And most importantly, I know you said 4 words, right? Most important is the attitude. So many children have the same level of cognitive intelligence, but it is their emotional intelligence that somehow comes in the way of their success. So to answer this question, I'm going to invite the next member of my panel, the youngest, but by no means lacking in experience and expertise, Mr. Akshat Tiwari. Akshat is our Director, Curriculum and Assessment at Khaitan Education Center, and primarily he leads in designing the education programs for all the schools under Khaitan Education Center. He has a very interesting narrative, behind him. I don't have as much time to talk about it, but all I will say is that he may be young, but he has very rich and diverse experiences, which actually make him very well qualified to be where he is. And Akshat, we are very happy to have you on board with us today. He's worked with institutions like Teach for India. He's been working with this NGO called Sitare, doing amazing work, and now he's with us. And I throw this question to you, Akshat, the first one. How do we make what we teach relevant and holistic? Would you want to share your own screen or?
Yes. I would prefer to share my own
Yeah,
screen.
I'm going to stop my screen and, you can share your screen.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much, Mamta, for that introduction. It means a lot. As Anirudh was speaking, I was reminded of things like, for example, we say, okay, schooling mein badla kya hai? Like if we say कि when we look at the things around us, we say, हाँ यार, ये चीजें बहुत बदल गई हैं. For example, if I like Anirudh's narrative, when he said कि 30 साल हो गए स्कूल में कुछ नहीं बदला, help me kind of think about my first mobile. Like I bought a first cell phone in 2004, and 20 years down the line, I don't think like everyone would agree कि टेक्नोलॉजी कितना चेंज हो गया है सिंस देन. अदर कॉमन डिस्कशंस जो हम लोग जब भी फैमिली में सब लोग साथ बैठते हैं, द प्राइस ऑफ कॉमोडिटीज, हाउ हैज दैट चेंज्ड अ लॉट, राइट? दे वुड से अच्छा हमारे टाइम में तो इतने रुपए में ही सामान आ जाता था, अब तो इतना हो गया है. सो या सम वेरी कॉमन आइटम्स वी से दैट दे हैव चेंज्ड, बट समथिंग which is very crucial for us as a society, for the development, and what makes us different from other beings, like what makes us human, is schooling. When we talk about that, we generally don't have an answer to that question कि अच्छा schooling में बदला क्या है इतने सालों में. So before I take a shot at that question, since we have the parent and I believe like all other people here, I would want to know from them, like before I give any gyan on this topic, as parents, as teachers and as fellow colleagues, like whosoever is there, I don't know who all are, what all professions are people coming from. I would want to know from them what is the purpose of, what should be the purpose of school education, or what is the purpose of school education according to them. And I think Sandeep will be rolling out a poll, and people will have to go to their screens to kind of write an answer to that prompt. So I'll wait for
How
30
much
seconds.
time are you giving us, Akshat?
Around 1 minute. Around 1 minute to type, because there's just a small question which says, according to you, what is the purpose of school education? It's a short response. It can be one word. It can be a sentence. And Sandeep, as in when you have some responses flowing in, I would request you to just share your screen so that all of us can see, okay, what is it that people think is the purpose of school education?
True, and I think that it goes with anything and everything. It's important to establish the purpose. Has this purpose changed over the last so many years? I would encourage the audience to just express what, according to you, is the purpose of school education.
Yeah, for now, I have stopped sharing my screen, and Sandeep can kind of, as and when people are jotting down the responses, he can share the screen so that we know, okay, what does our current audience of 100+ participants think? And what, according to them, is the purpose of school education?
I think we can give them another 60 seconds, Akshat.
Sure.
We do have some audience members raising their hand. We will have a Q&A towards the end of the session.
Yeah, it's somebody asked that where do they have to write? So I think people should be able to see a pop-up in their Zoom window. This is a poll for which you would be requested to type in a response. Sandeep, do we have some responses coming in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that means people are able to see the pop-up.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sandeep, can you please quickly share with us, if you can share your screen and show us what are some of the responses that we have got? Okay, so
Beautiful.
wonderful. So
I love the
provide students with knowledge and skills to make lifelong learners, good behavior, human beings, right? Purpose of overall grooming of the child, skills, academic learning, socializing, future, technological changes, lifetime value to grow. Okay. Preparing students for an uncertain future. Amazing. Overall development. Nice. With a better life. Okay, let's quickly scroll through other responses. What do people think? Prepare children for the society. Wonderful. Among the people are already covering what I'm about to share in my next few slides.
Okay, I promise you, I did not share your PowerPoint with anyone.
Okay, to prepare children for future ready. Okay, gain knowledge, physical and mental growth. Amazing. Essential, needed for higher education. Wonderful. Overall development, not just limited to studies. Very. Let's quickly look at the last. Learners' best skills. We are living in India, and there is a lot of competition. Okay, to make them good citizens. We should be able to educate our children, learn how to behave. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Sandeep. I will now share my screen, and let me know, Mamta, if my screen is visible.
Yes, it is. It is visible.
Okay. So before I answer that question, like I said, people have already touched upon like what is the purpose of education. And we all should know that recently the new education policy was launched, and following which the national curriculum, we have a revised national curriculum framework which extensively talks about the schooling in our country. And it talks about two prime things, like the purpose of schooling for an individual involves, definitely, like this is a non-negotiable, preparing children for a higher education and fulfilling careers. But very important that school education should also build character and well-rounded individuals. We should foster lifelong learning. We should not teach children just what they have to learn, but how to learn. And most importantly, developing the skill of adaptability, adapting to tough times, adapting to changing times, because that is something which will keep them going. So as an individual, these are the purpose of school education as per our national guidelines. And from the societal point of view, it should help individuals transform society for justice, equity, and sustainability. And it should help us take India way forward than where currently it is. We, like every individual, should be one of the remarkable global leaders in all these things. And what I'm lucky to say here is that curriculum, which includes, like whenever we use the word curriculum, we mean content, what is to be taught, pedagogy, how it is to be taught, and assessments, how it is to be assessed. And all three things in Khaitan schools promote these individual and societal goals. That is something that we follow. Uh, on a sidetrack, like many a times, like I have a, like, since I'm an engineer turned educator, and many a times I get asked, okay, which is the best school? What school should we choose for our kids? And such questions I get asked. And I always tell to the parents, like, don't just look at the visible things, look at the invisible things. Like visible things are is the infrastructure. But also when you go to a school, look at the invisible things, which is again, what is being taught, how it is being taught, and how it is being assessed. And in today's webinar, I'll just try and show a glimpse of how things are being done at KWS. Okay, again, taking people back to what has been changed since 2005. Like we all know the 10+2 structure. We all knew that हमारा class 1 to 10 hota tha, फिर then board exam, and then we would prepare for JEE and all. But the national curriculum framework has proposed a change in that. It's now a 4-stage curricular structure that we have, or a school structure where we have foundational stage, then we have a preparatory stage, we have a middle stage, and we have a secondary stage. And every stage has very specific focus. Every stage focuses on age appropriate assessments and pedagogies. It's not just that you have to mug up this much amount of content, itna textbook mein itni NCERT ke itne questions ho jane chahiye. No, the focus at a national level has changed from coverage, from acquisition of knowledge to demonstration of skills. So that is where, at a national level, things have changed. And those who are interested in education should read more about it. The National Curriculum Framework document, which is released, they should read about it, and it talks at length about these. Another beautiful thing which never was there in our previous curriculum frameworks is the focus on competencies and learning outcomes. There are very well-defined competencies and outcomes that children are expected to attain at the end of each stage. So as parents, as people who are interested in education, they would have very clear idea, okay, what is it that my child should know, should be able to do, and the kind of character that they should have at the end of each stage. So I would say that we are currently living in a very good time, because like as educators, we have been studying about all of this, we have been talking about all of this, but this time we have a national mandate. And thankfully, at all our Khaitan schools, we have the school structure in this manner, and there is a heavy focus on competencies. Like for example, our teachers, our team of curriculum experts, they develop unit plans, they develop assessments, their pedagogies, everything is aligned towards attainment of these competencies. Further, what has changed? The focus has been changed to a multidisciplinary and holistic education. And in future slides, like in the slides which other panelists will be talking about, they'll give evidence of how all of these things are being developed. So as participants said that they want development, like holistic development. What does holistic development mean? Holistic development at Khaitan schools means cultivation of these disciplines, and also at our national level. Again, another important thing which has changed is a focus on fostering 21st century skills. We say that what are 21st century skills? So again, there is a CBSE document. People can go and read that. It talks about the 4 C's, IMTs, and flips. 4 C's are the 4 critical thinking, like 4 things which are critical for learning. Then literacy skills and life skills. Now, one of the misconceptions that many a times people have about literacy skills is just that the ability to read. No, but in current times, the curriculum asks, like the schools are responsible to not just teach the ability to read or comprehend a text, but to empower children with the skills of information, media, and technology, which classify as the literacy skills. So when you're going to any school, which when you're selecting, just look out for these invisible things. Are you able to see these things happening in the school system or not? Again, a big emphasis which the current curriculum is laying on is the emphasis on foundational literacy and numeracy. Like people who are into education would know that there has always been a debate that how children at government school fall behind. They're not able to read at grade levels. They're not able to do a math problem. And so because of which, as a national mandate, there is a key focus on developing strong literacy and numeracy skills in the foundation years. And which is why we even lay a very high prioritization on building strong foundational skills in reading, writing, and maths to support their overall learning success. Our national curriculum talks about these 4 broad domains. It says that language needs to be developed through, there has to be an oral language development, word recognition, reading and writing. And at Khaitan schools, I'm very great that even before I joined, like the school is already following a balanced literacy curriculum, which focuses on these things. Where there is a word recognition or a word study, there is immense focus on listening and speaking. There is an immense focus on guided, shared, and independent reading and writing. Many are not even aware about that. Like, okay, we say that, okay, reading and writing are things, but yes, there is a procedure, there is a way how reading and writing are developed. And we already have a curriculum in place which talks about that. Again, emphasis on numeracy talks about these 4 blocks as per our national curriculum framework. And at Khaitan schools, we generally follow a concrete, pictorial, and abstract approach. Like we just don't throw numbers directly at children. We don't just give them a problem, 2 + 3 = 5. There's a lot of hands-on learning which happens, which is again aligned to our national guidelines. For example, in the rightmost picture, you see this happy kid. Anirudh would be happy to see that children are not crying while learning mathematics. Girls don't have the fear of mathematics in his school. So you can see like how various aspects are being targeted. For example, using shapes to build patterns, simultaneously focusing on fine motor skills in children. So these are certain key aspects that the curriculum now focuses on as compared to when we were studying. Because what I remember is that, okay, my teacher has given me certain questions on the board. I'm just solving them, but there was no real science behind how and why things are being done. So yeah, that is something I hope that I have been able to answer the question that you asked me, Mamta. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think you have not only answered the question, you've actually went a bit beyond and helped us understand the rationale, why it's important for all of us to rethink the way, what we want our children to learn. And when I say all of us, for educators, very important, but equally important for the parents sitting at home to see, well, what we teach has to be different. Thank you so much, Akshat. I'm going to share my slide again and deal with the next part, which is, so if what we teach is relevant and takes care of all of the things that we want children to learn, I think where sometimes we fall short is how do we teach it? Is it a class where the teacher comes, stands, delivers a lecture? You got 40 children sitting in a classroom. Everybody's listening, looking at the board, copying in the notebook. Notebooks look beautiful. Parents feel very happy. मेरा बच्चा की notebook भर गई है, 4-5 notebooks साल में हो गए हैं. Is that the way to learn? If we want them to ready for the future, what skills are coming when a child copies from the board? So I'm going to take you through how are we teaching at our Khaitan schools, right? And so I'm sorry, I'm going to skip all of this because you've already done it. And so I strongly believe that if you want to do something well and you want it to be sustainable, it's important that that becomes a part of the culture. So in all our Khaitan schools, we are promoting a culture of growth and excellence. And this commitment to what I'm saying comes from our purpose statement. What is our purpose statement? We are wanting to deliver an education for a changing world. This commitment also reflects in our motto, which our children very proudly wear on their sleeves every single day, which is be more, be better. A very positive growth mindset statement. We strongly believe you grow if you are in a continuous cycle of improvement. And for that, you just have to go back and reflect and every day be a better version of yourself. So that's how we are trying to ingrain this in our culture. And I'll now show you some evidences. We've spoken a lot of words. I'm going to take you through some evidences of what we are doing. So the first thing that you will find in all Khaitan schools is the role of physical environment. A child has 3 teachers. The first teacher is the parent. The second teacher is the teacher that he or she meets in the school. And then the third teacher, the invisible that you were talking about, Akshat, is the physical environment. The environment has to be very stimulating. It has to be, something that catches the child's attention. That's how our school environment looks like. It's joyful, it's colorful, it's exploding with stuff which gets their attention, and it kind of like excites them to know more. That's how the classrooms look like. For early years, particularly, stuff is at eye level. It is open. We don't keep it in cupboards locked. Children have access. They can go. They can just play with anything. Again, if they have something that they want to know, they have a lot of opportunities to get inspired for. The effort, the learning, we all know learning is a social process, right? What's the big difference between homeschooling and sending a child to school is a social interaction. So as a school, we emphasize a lot on that social part of learning. And that is why you will see various examples of learning happening in a social context. Children sit together, okay? Look at the seating arrangement. Collaboration, thinking, ideation. Children learn to agree to disagree. There is no one teacher standing and writing on the board and children all copying the same answer. They discuss. They do some independent work while, and that's also important because that builds the individual accountability that we sometimes feel is lacking in collaborative learning. No 2 lessons, no 2 classrooms will have the same straight-jacketed approach. It all depends upon what are they learning and sometimes what time of the day are they learning. In the afternoon, we are very, very careful with our timetable that children are very tired in the afternoon, particularly if you have a math lesson in the afternoon. In India, it's very hot. You can't blame the child. So we do take care of all these things. It's very fluid, it's very flexible, and I hope that the evidences that I'm showing you, you can see this coming across. Another focus, our focus is on arts and creativity, because we don't look at art as a drawing, right? We look at it as a sample of creative intelligence, because that's how you will promote creativity. And same ethos that children are allowed to do free expression. Another area where we excel is what we call transdisciplinary learning. I know when I was young, there was a math lesson, English lesson, Hindi lesson, and it's like my brain was like a pot, and everybody would come and put a spoonful of this and a spoonful of that, and it was a khichdi in my head. Fortunately or unfortunately, unlike Anirudh, I never had nightmares because I was very, very good at acquiring knowledge. And when I say acquiring knowledge, rote learn. My power to memorize was very good. And I could just, retain a lot of information and then regurgitate at the day of an examination. That made me look smart because I would get good marks. But did that actually made me do things better when I went to the outside world for a job? Sadly, no. That realization hit me. I was like a paper tiger. I had the knowledge, but I did not have the skills to use that knowledge effectively. And I think that is what one big mind shift we need to bring about. Today, knowledge is accessible to everyone, right? You don't have to acquire knowledge. It's out there. What you need to do is, how do I use this knowledge? So I'm sharing a sample with you, which is a project that the children did for a concept that they were learning in humanities, and it had to do with civilization and fabric and industries. And it was a pure student voice and choice. They chose how they wanted to learn. They did their own research. They then integrated that with art. They also made a visit to this printing factory to understand how the whole process happens. And from start to finish, I can very, very happily say it was student-led learning. The goals were given by the teacher, and the amount of skill development that happened during this process is what I will again borrow your word, invisible, may not be able to be measured in a test or in an exam, but very useful for your real life exam. I have a little glimpse that I would like to show you for this project itself, just to see how it all went. And the culmination, the best part is the culmination of this project was a performance. And children orchestrated and designed this performance on their own. It was all done by them from start to finish. So let's just have a look at it. And of course, you missed out on the actual performance, which, like I said, was conceptualized and designed by the children. So that's just a glimpse of what we give them. We give them the space, we give them an opportunity to come together, to collaborate, to think, to design, and just think about the skills that they're developing in these moments. Another thing that's happening at all our school is personalized learning, because that is the way forward. No longer can we say one size fits all. We all know every child is unique. We all know that their ability to learn things is different. They all learn at a different pace, but it's about time we actually accept this and bring this into the school culture. So there's a lot of adaptive learning happening in our schools. We use technology. I know that parents also say that, let's keep them away from screen time, but I think there's a good screen time and there is a bad screen time. So let us be very wise on the kind of screen time that our children are actually being exposed to. So this is what I call is a very good screen time. So a concept or a topic that is being taught, children are, the entire content is there and they're learning at their own pace. And after that, the teacher does the reflection, and whatever child needs the kind of attention, the personalized attention, plans are made, and that's how they know how to fill the gap. This is very, very, very close to me. I have been an educator for 30 years, and I think if this is something that was taken care of when I was young, maybe I would have been a different person. That's social emotional well-being. We are saying times are changing. We are living in an uncertain times. We do not know what's going to happen after 2, 3 years, 3 years. What is it that children need to know? We want our children to be resilient. We want our children to be able to understand that, okay, I'm doing a degree program today. After 3 years, when I come out of college, that degree program may be completely redundant. So instead of getting frustrated, they should have this tenacity to dust themselves up, upskill, reskill, and start all over again. So we have a program in all our Khaitan schools. We have a social, emotional, ethical learning program, which is tied up with Emory University and His Holiness the Dalai Lama's Foundation. And we don't just do it as a once in a month lesson. It's a properly planned lesson in our timetable. And it starts from nursery and continues till grade 12. I mentioned creative well-being, some glimpses of how we give children an opportunity for that. Free space, free drawing. I do not know if you can guess what class this is, but this is the drama class happening. And children are learning the drama conventions. And that's called theater in education. I never had a drama teacher like this. I never had a drama teacher, So just imagine what kind of learning the children are getting exposed to. Like I said, a lot of technology being used in the classroom, and they are given the power to take responsibility for their learning. That is something that we are absolutely sure that's the way forward. I say a lot that school alone cannot bring out the best in your child. It's a partnership. Parents alone cannot bring out the best in their child. But I think together, if there is synergy between the school and the parent, we can bring out the best in every single child. So at Khaitan, we consider parents our partners, and we have regular parent engagement programs where we sometimes take their opinions, sometimes share what we think as a school. And it's not just that we would want parents to come only for a PTM once a year, twice a year. In fact, our engagements and our meeting are as frequent as once in 6 weeks. We welcome, we meet our parents. And in all this, the last piece is all is good, but if your teachers are not trained and empowered, okay, so that they can do justice to the children under their care. I'm going to pause here. And at this point of time, I'm going to invite our head of technology, Monica Sharma, and she's going to talk about this hot topic that we all are saying, technology has invaded our privacy, technology has taken over our lives. And I think sometimes we talk about it like it's a scary thing. It is scary, but I think we cannot hide. We cannot run away from it. Why don't we prepare our children to handle it better? So who better than Monica ma'am to take us through how are we doing that at Khaitan Schools? Over to you, Monica ma'am. I'm going to stop sharing because I believe you also want to have the buttons in your hand.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, ma'am.
Okay, over to you.
Thank you. Sandeep sir, if you could just enable my screen. Thank you so much. So you'll have to let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Okay, wonderful. So thank you so much, ma'am, for that brief introduction, and also for, what we have been talking about. I've been hearing it very patiently and waiting for my turn to come. But I know, while we were talking and we were having this essential conversation, we have been talking about technology. I'm sure everybody who is on the platform today, well, first of all, I would like to thank you, each one of you. And I would like to say that we all would agree that technology is an inevitable part of our life and it is not going anywhere. What we have to learn today is, and we have to answer a pertinent question is, what and how much? What is that we want our children to know? And what is that, how much is that what we want our children to know? So what I'm going to share here today is the 3-point vision that guide our technology preparedness at all Khaitan schools. So what best can I do is I would like to start with a success story of a boy whose name is Nikunj Singh. He is a grade 12 student, who has spotted himself among the top 20 across the nation with a program Samsung Solve for Tomorrow. What he has designed is a VR headset, and this VR headset has been designed in our own tech zone at Khaitan Public School. Nikunj is not the only isolated success story at Khaitan. We have multiple success stories which are waiting to be told through these amazing, incredible creations, which you can see on your screen right now, in the field and in the diverse field of 3D animations, in robotics, in artificial intelligence, in audio engine, in MIT app development, game development, as you can see on the screen. So, what is happening is, if you look at the screen, our vision is very, very simple. We want to make a shift and transform our students from consumers to creators through technology. But how do we do it? That was the pertinent question. I still remember the day I joined Khaitan, and I have been always a techno-savvy person since 90s. I've been handling machines since 1990. So I was always looking for organizations who are very, very progressive in their thought when it comes to technology, and they can use technology as an enabler. I'm very, very proud to say that I'm happy. While I was sitting in this entire webinar, I was talking to myself mentally and I was saying, oh, I'm at a fantastic place. Because I have been getting an opportunity to learn each and every day, being a lifelong learner. So if you look at the screen here, the question which we had is, how do we give this dose of technology to our children? So what we did was, we created dedicated spaces, which we call as tech zones and innovation hub, that gives equal opportunity to the teachers and students as well to, acquire these 21st century skills. Me talking about it would not be very impactful, because you have been always, throughout the webinar, you have been listening and talking about the role of technology in education. What best I would like to show you here is a video, which will beautifully tell you how children are acquiring these skills through these innovative creations which they are doing. So here I'll take a pause and would like to show you this video. Do let me know if the video sound is not coming to you. There could be a technology glitch. And if you feel that, ma'am, I would need your support here. Is it audible? Audible?
Yeah. No, I think it's fragmented, Monica. It's just slightly fragmented.
Fragmented?
Yeah, it's just breaking.
Okay. Okay, I'll do it again, ma'am. I'll do it.
Please, thank you.
So I am facing a technical glitch. You'll have to, that's what technology is all about.
That's fine. You can just even play the video. That's fine.
Yeah.
You want to take some time? It's okay.
No, I think I can play the video and the video can tell a lot because that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, that's all right. That's okay.
That's not it.
You can play the video if you want to. That's okay. Even without the sound, there's a lot
Yes,
that
I'll do that. That makes more sense because, we have to be mindful of the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look at the space, just enjoy the space and see what is happening.
Maybe you can talk about the space, Monica.
So what is happening here is this is the audio engine space where children can co-create music. This is a space where they can do robotics. So the focus here is on design thinking. By giving them an opportunity to learn animation, graphics, robotics, AI, audio engineering. Where children are learning artificial intelligence, experimenting with the power of coding to create their own program to solve real life challenges. What we're doing here is using creativity to create 2D, 3D designs using motion animation. They are learning how to create their own games. As you can see, they are experimenting with the concept of STEM, learning the circuitry and creating their own circuits. What they're doing here is experimenting to see what is happening, what is the level of soil moisture, water level at the plant. There's another glimpse where children are talking to a microcontroller, controlling it with their coding skills. The world is moving towards graphic design. Children are also learning with the different operating systems in these studios. And not only that, you'll not find, this is one place which is very, very amazing place where children are learning to create their own music. They create their own pieces, all the internal, the productions which happen inside the schools, they're all co-created by the children. Written, scripted, created themselves. We have this little collaborative space for teachers where we brainstorm. And this is a child who's sharing what experience she's having since the time she has been using these spaces. I am so sorry, what could be the best humor? A technology failure when the technology head speaks. So that's okay. I think that's like, that is what life is all about.
I will always say, just to chime in here, technology is like my children, always lets me down when I need them the most.
Yeah, it happens that way, but I think we'll have to all live with these times. It happens, and we have to be resilient to adapt to whatever is the situation.
Very true. Very true.
Not only this, if I talk about the last point here, we are very, very committed to democratize, learning. When I say that, that means the quality learning has to be accessible to everyone. While I say that, I feel very proud to share, how our teachers are leveraging all the AI tools, not only to, take care or improve their efficiency in terms of administrative tasks, but also to enhance their teaching experiences while personalizing learning for every child. That's what is happening. And I'm very, very thankful to generative AI here because those tools are making it possible for them. Every now and then, teachers are experimenting with it. The best part about this place is that we have all the freedom to experiment, learn, unlearn, fail, and then relearn. That's what is the best place I call Khaitan. And while I conclude this, I would like to say that using technology, what we are giving our children is not only an opportunity to, be the creator of the future, but we are also enabling them to shape that future. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Monica. I cannot thank you enough as an educator. Like I said, the amount of amazing strategies, ideas that you have brought on the table to empower us as educators. And I call it like, enabling the enablers, right?
Yes.
We did not grow up in this tech world. We are not the natives of this digital world, right? And I think it's your passion, absolute unending passion, that you are making sure that every single educator at Khaitan is upskill. And I can say this, very, very few schools, educators would be at the level where we are and how we are using technology to enhance learning. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so if you can just stop sharing and I can
I'm doing
take
that.
controls back.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are almost towards the end of our session now. And I think at this point of time, I would like to open the floor for question and answers, because I'm sure you have all been listening very patiently to what we had to say. And I think now we would like to hear from you. What are your questions, thoughts, ideas on some of the things that we have discussed in today's session? So you can please write down your questions in the chat box, and we will be taking those questions. If you want to direct your question to anyone in particular, please let us know and we will do that. Okay, I do have one question. And this question is particularly for our school counselor, Richu ma'am. Richu ma'am, are you there? I saw she was there.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, lovely, lovely. May I also introduce Richu ma'am? She is our school counselor, a very experienced educator, and has been practicing counseling for many, many, many years. So the question here is, Richu ma'am, someone in the audience wants to know, all schools have counseling cells, all schools, have cells or, dedicated programs for differently abled children. What's different at Khaitan? So do you want to take this question?
Right, ma'am. Very good evening to everyone. At Khaitan schools, what I have observed in my journey, almost 1 year, it's ingrained, like, in the system right from early years. The sensitivity, and also, our children are trained right from early years till, the highest grade level to social emotional learning. We all our faculty members are trained from SEAL, in the SEAL curriculum from Emory University, USA. So it's in the culture of the school that it's ingrained, and all children belong to us as soon as they step into Khaitan schools, and we belong to them. So it's like a lot of a support system that comes in, and children get that that space, that safe space to share, to learn, to explore, and it's a part of a teaching learning process, especially the life skills curriculum, which is interwoven in such a manner that each and every activity that happens in the class entails all the life skills, as described by the CBSE. So it's ingrained in our curriculum, and children right from early years they are trained, and once they reach their pubertal ages, and they're able to develop that endurance, that resilience right from early years, and whenever they are there, they have hands to hold and support them. So that's the kind of support which is extended, whether a child has different abilities, whether a child is exceptionally bright, gifted, or a child is deficient somewhere. All faculty members are a support to that child. So every child is taken care of as an individual, and as soon as a child enters the stepping stones inside the Khaitan premises, they are every educator tries to look for that uniqueness in that particular child. So it's that every child is born with that wisdom. So no child is like not noticed at Khaitan schools. That's what I can say.
Thank you. And I think I'm just going to add something here. What is very unique, in all our schools is the joyful environment. Anyone who comes to our school, who visits our school, genuinely, that's one feedback that I hear, which is it's a happy space. It's a very happy space. It's a very safe space. So we do not see differently abled children. We do not see counseling as an add-on, but we think that social emotional intelligence, we actually give it the same level of importance as cognitive intelligence, because I think IQ and EQ, they need to be blended for our children to be successful in future. But thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I'm going to read out some more questions. Okay, just one second. Okay, so this is a question that says, I do not know. I think maybe Mr. Khaitan would like to take this question. What specifically makes Khaitan School stand out from other schools that other schools are missing out on?
Oh God. um, I can't comment about other schools. I have many friends who run other schools and they're doing a fantastic job, right? I think what I can only talk about our school, uh, a uh, the kind of passion that all our educators come with, the purpose that they come with every day is for every kid to learn. That I think is very, very infectious, right? That's one part. I think what other schools, if I would say, is not doing is we are focusing a lot on the social emotional being of the child, right? Like, I mean, understand, and going ahead with the previous question, actually every teacher is a counselor in our school. We don't just have one counselor, right? So every teacher is a counselor in our school. And with that, if you have something like that, then our sorry, somebody keeps calling me, but um, the social emotional health of a child is really taken care of. If that is taken care of, the child is not always second guessing themselves. They become more confident, and you know what? It's reflecting in their grades. So we are kind of hitting all the boxes where we are getting to what actually is really desired by a lot of parents, which is IIT and grade and NEET results, which we are actually doing very well in. But without just focusing on that and focusing on the child, we are achieving that. So I think that the approach that we take towards learning is very different. I mean, this is what I've seen, and I don't want to comment on another school because all of them are my friends, who run schools. But I think
No, I think that's very well answered. Yes, that because you still have the same 26 letters in the alphabet. So it's not that we are teaching 28.
yeah,
We still have the 0 to 9. We haven't still yet discovered another new number. So primarily it lies in our approach. Yeah,
yeah. It's
I agree.
approach and it's personalized learning. I think that's where we are really.
Absolutely. I have one more question here, and I do not know who will pick this question. So the question says that it's for kids in 11 and 12, and they are badly caught between regular schoolwork as well as external coaching schedules. How should they cope between these two worlds, considering they only have 8 to 10 hours daily? Who wants to take this question?
I think you should take it up, Mamta. It's a tough one. I'll give you the toughest one.
Okay. No, so I think I would first want to know that there has to be a genuine need for a child to go to a coaching institute. So, like I say, every child learns in a different manner. There are some children who need that little extra support, extra revisiting, right? So, the need to go to a coaching school, first of all, needs to be established. Are we putting too much pressure on the child? Are the expectations from the child unrealistic? If all of that is not aligned, the child will crumble. So I think the first thing is to establish the need for why you are doing that. I am sure you have very good reasons for why you're sending your child to a coaching institute. Yes, you're very right. They're only 8 to 10 hours daily. Perhaps we also need to think, does everybody has to reach the same peak? Because now it's not that everybody has to be an engineer. Everybody has to be a doctor. There are so many other amazing career choices out there, and find out what is best suited for your child. And that
I'll
career
also
choice.
I'll also add one more thing, Mamta. Perhaps, and for the gentleman, I think it's Mr. Cup. I can't see the name, but I think you can also find out a good school that has a school integrated program. which where they don't need to go coaching. I don't want to say it, but we do offer it. I mean,
Yeah.
we have a school integrated program where actually we don't want the child to just study 10 hours a day. First you study 8 hours in school, then you go home and study 8 hours. Hey, where's life? So we actually have a school integrated program for IIT, for NEET, etc. You know, and we are building our own team to now do it, because I feel that's the best way to do it. The child should come to school and learn everything, right?
Yeah.
At least from a education standpoint. So look for a school that has a school integrated program. That's what I would say. Whether
Yeah.
us, whether anyone else, but that would be my answer.
Yeah. And also, like I said, just do think about what does your child want. And if your child's interest is somewhere else, there's no point sending him to a coaching institute. And if you have to send one, then look for, as Mr. Khaitan suggested, a school integrated program that will save on the time, and you'll be able to follow his progress very well. I hope
Right.
that
So-
answers the question.
Yeah, I'm going to pick a question which I like,
Yeah.
right? There are a few questions like this, right? So parents are concerned that, at the end of the day, it is India, right? And there's someone who said, well, they have to go for UPSC exam, or somebody's talking about IIT. So is our approach really helping children to get there, right? Or should they opt for something else? So how would you answer that? Is our approach of teaching helping the child to get there?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Just because we are teaching in a different manner does not mean that we are diluting what we are teaching. We still make sure that there are all kinds of children, and there are children who want to go for IIT, there are children who want to go to NEET or civil services. So there is rigor. There is rigor in the academic program, sufficient for the child who wants to go and pursue this as a career. But what we are saying is one size does not fit all. Not all the 30 children in the class will be able to crack NEET and IIT. So establish the need before you put your child through that grind. I just hope that answers what we're saying. But yes, we have a very good track record of children going into NEET, into IIT. We have a very successful school integrated program. And that just shows that we are not, we are in line with this kind of thinking that, let's give it to the child who wants to do it. Akshat, would you like to add something? Because you, before you became an educator, you were an engineer. You went through that whole grind.
Yeah, so first of all, see, I understand the dilemma that parents have, because I have been through that. Like people who come from, let's say, middle class, lower middle class families, so a child coming from a lower middle class or middle class family doesn't dream, like not everyone dreams, because for the first thing that they have to kind of think about is that what is that they're going to earn, right? And likewise, like I was going through some of the comments that people have said. So these days, like times have changed, and times are going to change by the time children are going to graduate. So again, like we said, many of these jobs are going to they're going to change a lot. So first of all, what is important, like, is not that, for example, let's say if you want your child to be an engineer, then start like pushing things down on them right from grade 3 and 4. And which is why I also spoke about it in my slide, where I said that every stage has their competencies and the abilities that that after enormous amount of research as a nation we have, that the curriculum has prescribed. Okay, these are the things that children should be able to do. So first of all, as parents, we can be aware, okay, what is it that our children need to learn, and are they acquiring those things or not? Then secondly, trust the system a bit. Like, for example, don't, like, at times we rub anxiety onto the people around us, and just you and I were having this conversation. We don't perform really well when there is pressure. You only mentioned that, right? So let children also identify their skill sets, because a school which is trying to give children a lot of exposure first of all, is creating a platform for a child to understand, okay, where do I want to go? What kind of dispositions and traits do I have? What is the pathway that I want to take? For example, Monica showed Nikunj. So Nikunj's gateway was technology, but maybe not everyone's gateway or the pathway is that. As you were mentioning, the last year's board topper, the girl, you can tell her name, who
Yep.
who also is a great Bharatnatyam dancer and also a school topper. So first of all, for parents, they should not rub their anxieties onto their children, right? Give them the time and be vigilant, be aware, okay, what all abilities, skill sets my child is supposed to develop. Uh, and then also try and identify that what are their core interests and core skills that need to be groomed, and give them opportunities to develop that, because times have changed. Like, it's no longer like you have to be in engineering and all. Like, for example, again, many of us in the education system were talking about, okay, what is the relevance of board examinations now, that because of the CUET, entrance is going to be based in CUET, so what about boards and all? So those discussions and debates are going at a national level. So yeah, I hope that long-winded answer kind of.
No, it's a discussion, and I think we need to have a discussion maybe on this at some point of time. I'm going to take some other questions as well. So there's a question here that says, how will Khaitan help the child particularly to opt the best career for himself and herself? So yeah, good question. We at Khaitan, we have a career counseling cell at Khaitan Public School, because Khaitan World School right now is just up till grade 8. And we have a very, very robust program called LTI, which is Learning Through Internship. So we start talking to children about vocational education as early as grade 6, right? And then at grade 8, we start talking about, choices. We do these career aptitude interest surveys. We do that in grade 8, and when they come to grade 9 and 10 and above, then we do proper aptitude tests to establish where does their skill set and interest lie. We have an in-house counselor, and then the counselor takes it up from there. We have career festivals happening where we invite national, international universities, So I think, to answer it in one sentence, all this starts very early from middle school onwards. And from there, we hold their hands and guide them till wherever they want to go. And we very successfully, we've had a child go to Ivy League, and it was 2 years ago. We have children now going abroad. We have 2 kids, one going to Manchester University. We have children going all over places in India. And like what Akshat was saying, what I'm really delighted to share is that our school toppers are children who excel in other areas as well. So this year's school topper, excellent Kathak dancer. Last year's school topper, an excellent Bharatnatyam dancer. And these are people who have passion and interest over and above their academics as well. So, and I think that's the beauty. This can only happen when children get that space of holistic learning. So that's the question, and I hope the parent has the question answered. Another question I can see here is, what is the teacher-student ratio? So teacher-student ratio in the early years is 1:12. And since we have a great emphasis on foundation literacy and numeracy, because we strongly believe if a child is literate and numerate, more than half of the battle is won. So we have a very strong focus there. So for children from grades 1 to 5, for their literacy lessons and numeracy lessons, again, the student-teacher ratio is 1:15, which means there are 2 teachers in a class. But for early years, for all classes, the teacher-student ratio is 1:12. I think that's another question that we have answered. We have a question that says here, in which age we can identify the skill of learners in which they have interest? As in primary age, it changes very frequently. Very rightly said. At primary age, their interest changes every single day. They're also developing their skills and their abilities. So it's too early at that stage to say anything. All we can do is Give them a plethora of opportunities. Let them explore. Let them inquire. They may like something for a few days and then they may say, I don't like it. Don't get upset because that's their age to do that. They're trying to find out where their interest lies. I think from grade 8 onwards, it's time that we should make them aware of all the different kinds of careers that are there. And we should take them to these places. So that is the part of our LTI, our Learning Through Internship program. We also call professionals from various industries to come and talk to our children. So be it a chef, be it a pilot, let children talk to these people and see what skills are needed for us if I want to become this person. But primary school, I think up till grade 5, it's way too early. We shouldn't be even talking about this. We should just give them a free space and a free hand. I have a question here that says, how do you plan to identify interest of student at early stage and polish them accordingly? And also if any student changes, I think I've already answered, they will change. They are at that stage that they will change. And how do you plan to polish the skills so that they can compete in the fast changing environment? I think from all that we have shared with you all, you must have got an idea of how we do things in our school. And particularly for early age, it's all about observation. And we have a very robust method, process of observing children. Because at that stage, you can't do an assessment, not advisable, should not be done. And teachers keep anecdotal records of it. And they, like I said, we offer personalized learning. And that's the whole goal and aim of personalized learning, to look at where the child is. What is the child good at? Where is the gap? We try and fill the gap. And wherever the child is good at, we try to make the child better. So that's the whole ethos of personalized learning. I don't know. I don't think so. There is any other question that we have left unanswered. Before we go, I would like to thank you all for your time. It just shows how committed you are for your child's education and learning. I think as parents, what do we all want? We want our children to be happy. We want our children to be successful. We all want our children to be able to sustain their adult life. And for that, I think what we need to do is, if we can keep them curious to learn more, if we can make them flexible, adaptive, resilient to unlearn and relearn, and if we can give them opportunities to explore and find out where is their calling, I think we would have done a great job in preparing them for the future. We don't know what the future is. So I really don't know even if we can prepare them for the future. But I think if we give them the right kind of knowledge, skill, attitude, they'll be able to make the future that they want to. So on that note, I want to thank each one of you once again. But before you go, there's a very quick poll that we would like to do because, like I said, your feedback will help us make such sessions even better in future. So please spare 2 minutes of your time and just do this poll. We've tried to keep it very, very simple. If you find the session engaging, it's a very simple yes or no. Would you want more such sessions? We would love to know from you. If yes, we would also love to know from you what kind of sessions, what titles would you want us to talk about? What day and time would you prefer? We decided to do it today on a Thursday, but if there's any particular day and time that you think is more convenient, please feel free to share that with us. And also, how would you like to receive communication from the school? What medium of communication feels suitable and is better for you? So please fill in your responses for this poll. All the information that we gather will only help us design better sessions in future. Thank you once again. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all my panelists for your time, for sharing your experiences, for helping us as educators and parents. I know that there are a variety of people that are there in the audience today. What best we need to do for our children in the coming years. So thank you for everything. And we look forward to meeting again and doing such sessions. Any last words from any of our panelists?
No, thank you so much for the wonderful questions and everyone's time. I see that there are still a lot of participants, and I know it's some of them would be back from work or would be attending while they are driving. You could be anywhere, but you choose to be here. So thank you so much for your time, and we really appreciate your effort. And in future, we would look forward to kind of have more webinars where we can discuss things in education. Thank you so much. Thank you. So Sandeep, whenever you think that the poll is done, you can close the poll.
Please let
and I
us
will-
know.
Yeah.
Sandeep sir, we are waiting for you to let us know.
Ma'am, yeah, I can stop the poll and share the screen also. No?
Okay. No, it's okay. You don't have to share the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, you can continue with the poll, and I think we can say goodbye to our audience one more time. Have a nice evening, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Very good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
It was fun.
Yes.
It was. Yes. Fun. How was it?
Very good.
Very
But
good.
as usual, you know,
So good.
it was good. It was good.
Thank you.
We
Oh,
can
thank
leave
you.
this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.